You are tuned in to Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette. We're your hosts, Annette Harris. We analyze intriguing life questions and concerns, such as: do Christians suffer from mental illness? Have you wondered why they act abnormal? Or you may ask, what is really going on in their minds? Do you need a net? Well, keep listening for a biblical understanding of the psychology of the mind. Hey, great afternoon, and welcome to another wonderful session of Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette. And I am your host, Annette Harris. Thank you so much for joining us on today, for watching and or listening. Before I go further, Lord, I thank you for this wonderful day that you have blessed us to see. I am so excited that you have blessed us to still be here in the land of the living. Lord, we ask that you get the glory out of whatever we go to say and do on this day. And our opening scripture is the first part of Hosea 4 and 6. And it states, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee." And we are glad to be here. It is another Wednesday, another time for Mind, Body, and Soul. The session is live. We are here. So when you guys come in, I have a Facebook live feed going on my page, Annette known as Annette. You can also listen to us on the station's website, intellectualradio.com, or you can go to my YouTube channel, and that is MBSWANET, Get Caught in a Net. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I encourage you right now to go ahead and do that while you can. It costs you nothing, but I just appreciate it if you would do that and let everybody know that we are on the air live. We are excited because we have another wonderful guest in the studio. She is a returning guest, actually, and we are blessed to be joined here with her and to have her come back in and to talk about this wonderful, wonderful foundation that she has, to talk about her. She has great things that she wants to share with us on today. And I'm speaking of none other than Lasagna Alexander Frazier. How
Hello.
are you?
I am blessed. How are you?
I'm doing good. Go ahead and make that mic your friend. When my producer looks up and he's trying to make sure, then I know to tell you that. So make the mic your friend so that everybody can hear you. We won't.
Hello.
She said hello, friend. That's cute. But I'm so glad you're here
I am
today.
too. Thank you for having me back. I am absolutely humbled and honored as always.
Good. She's so pretty to me, and she has a beautiful spirit. Beautiful spirit. She has a spirit of helping individuals and just joy. It's a joy to watch her on social media. It's a joy that she loves spreading, and we just kind of we get wrapped up, and then she gets caught in the net, and just
Yes.
all that, just all combined. But no, thank you again for being here. I do see you guys coming on the Facebook Live feed, so thank you so much. Go ahead and like and share. Demetria is already, she is funny. She says you're killing those waves.
Hey, Demetria.
She's such a that's my sweetheart right there. That's my
I
sister,
love
my
her.
my girl. She's a jewel. She really is. Chris Bass, I see you on watching. Beatrice Carter, thanks for watching, you guys. I appreciate it. Again, I can't say it enough. Go ahead, like and share. We're going to talk about this foundation on today. There are a couple things that I want to make sure that we say on today. Of course, we're approaching Mother's Day weekend. We will be celebrating the sheroes in our lives on this weekend. So it is actually appropriate that we have Lasagna on today. She has an event on this coming weekend, so we're going to talk about that Mother's Day event that it's her third annual, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, and so we're gonna make sure you guys know about that. If you're in the Chicagoland area, we encourage you all to make sure that you attend. They can still get tickets, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So you know what? Why don't we actually, while I'm pulling up your nice bio, Why don't you tell everybody about this event because we'll talk about it again
Okay.
before the session ends. Tell us about the event, where it's going to be, and where they
Okay.
can get tickets.
Okay, absolutely. So, this is my third annual. It is called the Pre Mother's Day Ready to Work event. We have selected, you guys selected 20 single moms throughout Chicago and suburbs to be nominated for Mother's Day. We will be providing them with a resume prep, interview prep. We'll be giving them business attire, and we will be blessing them with a wonderful gift bag for Mother's Day. Because as a single mom, sometimes some of us are forgotten. So, I ask for your assistance in selecting some moms, so I'm excited about that. It will be this Saturday from 3 to 8 at the Lab on the Lake, which is 3450 West Lake. I will go ahead and add the link to the event in the comments if that's
Please do.
okay. And you guys can reach out there. And tickets are $25 in advance. I'll be selling up until Friday and then 35 at the door. But please come out. This will be an amazing, amazing event. And I am so excited at what's in store. There's a couple of surprises. I have some wonderful, wonderful, amazing mothers that are coming to bless us with their stories and share their experiences. So please check the link. I will go ahead and add it in the comments. And again, this Saturday, the moms could do it too. Pre Mother's Day Ready to Work event. Thank you.
Awesome. That's beautiful. Ready to work event. Hey, buddy, I see you on. Thanks for watching. And Brandy, I appreciate you guys for coming in. Lasagna was just telling us about her Mother's Day event for this weekend, and she's going to put the link for the event so that you can get tickets. And if you're not able to go, maybe you can pay for somebody else to go. And, this could be your Mother's Day gift to someone. I don't know. But, it sounds like it's going to be a great event. I am, unfortunately, my family has experienced like 2 deaths, and we have a couple of them. The services this weekend, one Friday and one Saturday. So I'm not necessarily sure if I can get by there this weekend. But what I want to do, I want to purchase a ticket,
Thank you.
and we can give it away to somebody who I know is going to go. I mean, you have to tell me that you're actually going to go. Okay. Otherwise, it'll just be money that's going to go into her pot, which is fine. Either way. So that'll be one of my gifts that I'm going to give away today is a ticket to Lasagna's event on
Yay.
this weekend. Okay. And then if you guys have or know anybody or no, let me backtrack that. We're celebrating birthdays on Mind, Body, and Soul. So we started last week. We said for the month of May we were starting this. And if your birthday falls on the day that we are airing live, which is normally Wednesdays, and you are watching the show and you let me know, hey Annette, it's my birthday today, you're gonna get a cash gift. Okay. So, but you have to let me know while I'm on the air that it's your birthday. And yes, it would be nice for you to be an active listener on the show. Okay. I don't want you just hopping in. Hey, Annette's got, birthday things. We're just going to look at it on our birthdays. We just appreciate your support all the time. Okay. So that we just want to recognize you all for your support. Hey, Tradana, thanks for watching. And please tag someone, tag a mother, whether it's a single mother or a married mother or whatever, tag a mother. We are celebrating mothers on today. And to do this shout out as well. Happy Mother's Day to each and every one of you who are mothers. And we just thank God for you all and the many hats that you wear. Okay, is someone's birthday is today?
Yes, it would be remiss of me to not wish my younger brother,
Okay.
Antarios Alexander. Today is his birthday. So happy birthday, baby
Oh,
brother. I love you.
happy birthday. Okay, well, I mean, if he's watching, he can get a cash gift, but I don't know if he is or
I
not.
just tagged him, so
Okay,
just
all
wanted to
right.
make sure I wished him a
Okay.
happy birthday.
Okay, well, wonderful. Happy birthday to you. And so let's start talking about this. Let's get into the topic for today because um when I met her, I think it's been a couple of years. Did we say it was a couple of years, a year and a
Yeah,
half or whatever?
it's over that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And when I heard about her story and her foundation, I was floored. And I'm going to let her. I have her bio. I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about herself. She has been on Mind, Body, and Soul before, but many of you probably are new listeners or whatever. Maybe you didn't catch that show when we had her on over a year ago. So I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about herself and probably you can understand why I was floored. Well, let me say this. When I did meet her, she had on this, and I always have to say this, she had on this fabulous outfit. I'm telling you, it was black and white, and she just looked like a queen. She really did when I first met her.
Thank you.
And I was actually presenting her with the gift at Mia Ogburn's play. And I was the MC, and I had to present her. And so I'm looking at her, and then I'm listening to her. And some of you heard me say this in my pre-show. And I'm listening to her story, and I'm like, wow, but God,
But God.
but God.
But God.
So, Lasagna, tell my listeners who you are, and maybe a little bit of your backstory,
Okay.
and then how we even, or I say we lightly, but how you even came to organizing this foundation, Moms Can Do It Too.
Okay. Well, I am a native of Chicago, and maybe about almost 8 years, 9 years ago, I moved to Las Vegas. So I stayed in Las Vegas for a few years, and I used to volunteer at the Las Vegas Rescue Mission. I am an advocate for teaching children, I mean, adults, everyone, I always say everyone deserves a dose of humility. So on a month to month basis, me and my children would go and we would volunteer at the Las Vegas Rescue Mission because I wanted my children to understand and to learn servitude. That's something that has been instilled in me from my parents, both of my parents, my biological father. Millard Frazier. He was really big on employing people that maybe has, had backgrounds or, had previous drug addictions and things of that nature. So I took that on him. And in addition to that, my mother, Pastor J.C. Evie Jackson, servitude. That's all I've known since I was a child. So I wanted to instill that in my children and to always know the gift of giving.
Mm.
I'm really big on the Bible saying it's better to give than to receive. So I really get blessings from helping people. So me and my children would go and serve there. Circumstances arose that caused me to have to relocate back to Chicago. Had a family member that was ill. And upon relocating back here, fell into some hard times. The biggest thing that happened was I had a child that attempted suicide. With that happening, I ended up losing my job. Of course, after losing your income, you're not able to sustain your family. So I wasn't able to pay my rent. And me and my children subsequently, because of the attempted suicide and my job not being supportive and understanding, I lost my job. And ultimately, me and all 7 of my children ended up being homeless. Um, After being homeless, I ended up going to a shelter. It was actually called Morning Star Mission in Joliet. And they took in me and all of my children and even my grandchildren at that time. After that, I was in the shelter and I participated in the programs. I'm always big on inspiring and trying to motivate people. But there were so many moms in there. I noticed that have been there, maybe a couple of months, but there was even a few that had been there for a total of 3 years. And I thought to myself, why are you still here? Why can't you get out of here? I mean, it was pretty frightening to me because I couldn't understand.
Right.
I worked tirelessly too. I got my life insurance license and worked to get my family out of there. But during that time, I began to speak to the women, and I understood that some of them were stuck either from fear, complacency, because they were comfortable. It was a stable environment for them, and they didn't have the confidence to go back out there on their own with their children. So that's when I thought about my organization, Moms Can Do It Too. When I was in Las Vegas, I went to James Malinchak. He's a big Millionaire Money speaker. My younger brother, Algernoy, couldn't make it to Vegas, so he gifted me a $2,500 ticket to James Malinchak's boot camp. So the boot camp was phenomenal. But the first day, Mr. Malinchak said, before you leave here, he said, I want you to come up with your organization. He said, everyone has a gift and you deserve to be highly compensated for it. So I thought about how I'm always helping people. The biggest thing was while I was in Vegas, I would help people with their resumes, help them with attire, because I sat on many management panels where people just didn't know how to dress. They didn't know how to talk. I saw so many young people lose out on the jobs because they said the wrong things or they were dressed inappropriately. Young women would come in with bright red lipstick, jeans, just dressed inappropriately. So I was really big on trying to help people. So I thought about that. And the second day I came up with Moms Can Do It Too. Now, originally it was Moms Can Do It TOO because I thought moms can do anything. I want single mothers, and single mothers can fall in any category. You can be a single mom by way of being a widow, by choice, being in a bad relationship, so there's many categories to a single mom. People try to put them in a box, and I don't think that's right. But I wanted single moms to know that they can get back on their feet. And so I came up with Moms Can Do It Too, because a lot of the people that I saw losing out on the jobs, or not getting the jobs at the interviews, were young single moms. I even had a young lady during an interview. She shared that she had babysitting issues, and she had two young
Wow.
children. And as she left out, I said on this, I won't mention the company, but I said on this panel of managers, and one of the managers said, you know what, we're not going to hire her because she already has babysitting issues. She's already shared that with us, so scratch her off the list. And I thought to myself, wow, how unfortunate is that? Because she was very
Mm-hmm.
well put together, very articulate, but just by sharing that, they decided to not give her the job. So I reflected back on that when I was in that boot camp, and I came up with Moms Can Do It Too. Really excited about it. I began to, push forth my organization, and ultimately couldn't pay for my domain. I couldn't
Okay.
renew it. And a lady took my domain, and I was devastated. I was like, I even messaged her. I said, listen, this is my dream. I worked really hard at this. Can you please, I'll buy the domain back. She wouldn't give it back. She would
Oh.
not give it back, no matter how I offered her money. Once I, recouped the funds, she wouldn't give it back. So I was pretty devastated, and I shut down. But once I moved back to Chicago and I was in that shelter, I got
Started coming back.
re-inspired to launch my organization again. So at that point, I thought, okay, my name is gone. I got to come up with something else. And then I came up with Moms Can Do It, the number two, because single moms do the jobs of two parents. So I was able to relaunch Moms Can Do It Too. I entered a beauty pageant, and it was with American Elegance, and my pageant sisters and my directors, they all rallied around me and supported me, and I relaunched Moms Can Do It Too, and I've been going since then.
I
So
love
the
it.
biggest thing is helping moms transition back into the workforce, trying to share resources with them, providing them with work clothes. And I mean, overall, the biggest thing is sharing my life experience. I try to help moms avoid some of the things that I've gone through,
Hmm.
or help them work through it by sharing my experiences of how I, overcame. So,
Right.
yeah, not to say that I don't still go through stuff, but,
Right. Exactly.
I think that we get situations so that we can share. I think we have a divine responsibility, if God blesses us through a situation, for us to share our testimony and encourage and inspire someone else to get past it. And there's no special formula. I will tell you, my biggest formula is Him upstairs, the God upstairs.
That's
So,
right. That's right.
yeah.
Definitely. So, yeah, this is the story, her backstory that I heard at that event. And she, like I said, she was looking fabulous. I'm like, when were you homeless? Like, oh my God. But again, just tells you how, like you said, God is your strength. He's your source.
Yes.
And a lot of times when we go through things ourselves, it is something that will inspire us, to help somebody else
Yes.
or whatever, because of our own, personal, things that we've dealt with ourselves. I'm loving, and I've always loved since I met you, the big heart that you have. You have such
Thank
a big
you.
heart.
Thank you.
And I mean, because anybody, I mean, because if you, like you said, you fell on hard times when you came back to Chicago, you went to the shelter, you could have been just, okay, I just want her to get my family out or whatever. But you're looking around at everybody else.
Yes.
And you're observing this and like, oh God. So your heart was kind of like going out to them,
Yes.
in addition to, and I kind of heard a little bit, I don't want to be in here in 3 years, 3 or 4 years myself. So
Oh, no.
how can we, and so this is how this foundation was birthed. And I appreciate you, wanting to, help somebody like the moms, help them, as far as you said, get back into the workforce, or basically, in so many words, kind of helping them to gain that confidence,
Yes.
maybe that they once had or maybe never had, because it's so important, and they can get lost
Definitely.
in this world, especially if people are kind of disregarding them and their
Yes.
situation.
Absolutely.
And that sounds like that was kind of what was kind of happening to some of those young ladies or
Yes.
whatever, what for whatever reason, that they were there. Obviously they didn't have support,
No.
and obviously didn't know where to go, for that support. I had a young lady on, and I don't know if she's going to be joining us in terms of watching today or not, um, Dr. Scott. And she actually birthed a foundation because she was a single parent.
Mhm.
And she said one day, she said, and I can tell the story because she came on here and told it. She said one day she sat in the middle of the floor. Her son was young. She like, okay, how did I even get to this
Right.
point? And then she started looking. She said she had a lot of bills just sitting in front of her. She's like, she couldn't pay them. She couldn't do anything. And she was
Mhm.
like, God, how do I get through this? How do I do this? And her foundation was born out of that. But
Okay.
she helps, young women too. Maybe I can kind of,
Excellent.
I love networking and stuff.
Yes,
Maybe we can kind of
absolutely.
have you network with her as well if you guys are able to. But so she reaches out and she works with different churches and stuff or whatever and trying to help, the single women, letting them know you can make it.
You could do it
You
too.
can, you
You
can
can do it
make it.
too.
You can make it, and not that you don't need a man or whatever, but we don't want you to feel so down and out or
Mhm.
lost and like you just have no hope.
Right.
God is our strength, God is our help, and He will send individuals, our way, to assist us. Let me hop back on here real quick. Let's see. Cletus, Reverend Cletus Seals. I don't know if you're still watching, but I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Bridget Evans Ratliff, thanks for watching. And I see Latoya on. Demetris is on. Demetris is the author and the singer on our jingle here. So thanks for watching on today. And Carrie, how are you? Thanks for watching. We're talking today, if you're just not joining us, to Lasagna Alexander Frazier, and she is the founder of this wonderful foundation entitled Moms Can Do It Too. So it's been how long since you created the
I
foundation?
actually originally created it in May of 2008 in Las Vegas.
Okay, and that was with the TOO.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so
Now,
2008. All right.
mhm.
All right.
Now
So,
here I did 2017 in Chicago.
okay. All right.
So
So it's been a couple of years for that.
now I saw a question, Annette.
Oh,
Well,
did
a
you?
comment can I address?
Sure, you can.
Brandy, she said, how did she dig herself out from the mindset of wanting to kill herself, though? That wasn't me. It was one of my children. One of my sons actually attempted suicide. So I just want to clarify
Oh,
that.
good. Okay, good, good.
So,
I'm sorry, I didn't
yes.
see that question. Thanks
Hmm.
for checking that. So yeah, it was one of her children, and that's all a part of this conversation as well. Because as a mom, you're faced with so much.
Yes.
You have to supply for your children. You have to
Hmm.
be, there for your children, and
Right.
and what have you. Maybe kind of take us back to that story too.
Hmm.
So that others will understand. Like you were saying, that's how you got into the situation because your job at that time was not lenient or whatever. They weren't
Supportive.
supportive
No.
of whatever you were dealing with. And as a mom, any real mom,
Hmm.
one who really cares about her children, one who cares about her family, is going to want to do all that she can to
Yes.
help them.
Yes.
So you had to like miss days of
Yes, I
work, from
did.
what I
Hmm.
understand. Maybe tell us a little bit about that.
So I just to share me being a single mom of 7, and this is one of my biggest points that I make to single mothers that have multiple children. Sometimes you can have multiple children and you think that you're giving the attention that they need. I try my best to provide love and support equally, but the reality is that you just can't. And sometimes you may have one or two that may, I won't say fall by the wayside, but can be in a rut or in a situation and you may not see it. After going through suicide prevention training and therapy with my son, I looked back and I realized that there were so many signs that I didn't pay attention to, that I didn't recognize.
Okay.
He was the one that didn't want to be bothered. And for me, as a single mom of 7, I'm like, whew, okay, he's fine.
Right.
That's what he's not bothering me. That's not the one that gets in trouble. That's not the one that's always mom, mom, mom. He was pretty much, a loner into himself. And I thought that that was okay. There were no, indications to me that he was depressed, that he was unhappy. He was very um, miserable about relocating from Las Vegas back to Chicago. Chicago was a tough area when we left, a tough city when we left, and it was even more tougher when we returned. And
Okay.
in fact, he even got jumped on by 10 gang members. So I didn't see that he was hurting. I didn't see that he was crying out for help. And I'll share on that morning. I'm writing a book, but this was one of the chapters I'll tell you was the
Oh,
final
are you?
goodbye.
I'm so
Thank
excited. I
you.
was hoping you would.
One of the chapter titles is a final goodbye. And that morning, my son came to me and he gave me a kiss. Now, as I stated, this is the one that didn't bother me. So I said, "Oh, you kissed your mother? Boy, you haven't kissed your mother in forever." And he said, Mom, I know. And he said, Mom, today's going to be a beautiful day. Those were the last words that my son said to me before I left for work. So me totally oblivious as to what was going to happen. I was like, "Oh wow, this particular child, he's happy today." I didn't recognize and when people make the decision to end their lives, there's a certain level of peace and comfort that comes over them. That's what was going on, but I wasn't aware of it. And I got the call. I actually got a text message from a family member later that day that my son had attempted suicide. So really tough time, really devastating. Reached out to my employer at that time. Had insurance. They provided the insurance. They provide you with free sessions, but they don't approve the days off. So I'm like, what's the point? I would then I rescheduled the therapy and they didn't want to approve the days off. So at that point, I had to make a decision. I'm like, I can replace this job. I can't replace my child. And ultimately, because of that, one final day, my son had a situation and I ended up having to go and take him to the hospital. They were very unkind after that, and I ended up losing my job. So
Mm.
I don't regret standing up for my son because at that time began to go through therapy and I learned so that I can see the signs and recognize if this happens again with other children and still, continue to support and love him. It was a very challenging time, especially coming back to Chicago, after being in Las Vegas for so many years and coming back to such hardship. But I didn't let it harden my heart. I didn't let it make me bitter. Instead, I used that fuel to just continue to push forward and to help other mothers. Many times when I come on shows like this, I'll have a mother message me or reach out to me and say, I'm so glad that just you even saying that made me go and talk to my children. And they've discovered my child was already contemplating suicide. I have a best friend that has just done a film. The film, her name is Mildred Squeaky Moore. Hi, best friend.
Mhm.
And her film is called What If, Then What?
Mm.
And in the credits, she shares that I inspired her to do that, sharing what happened with my son. And she found out that her son was being bullied. So, what I've learned, like I said, that divine responsibility, share, because if I can help one person, if I can help one mother save her child, then I've done my job. If I can prevent one suicide, God blessed me, and my son is still here. His older brother actually was the one that found him and saved him. And I thank God for that. But if I can help one mother wake them up, if I can,
Mhm.
trigger that mindset or make them double check on their child or reach out to their child, snoop. I'm big on snooping.
There you
My
go.
kids know I snoop. If you're living in my house, I'm gonna snoop just to keep in tune to make sure what's going on because you just never know. And now I'm seeing more of these younger children that are committing suicide and parents just don't know. They don't know that their children are okay. So I'm really big on sharing that story so that mothers can pay attention to their children because
Yeah.
these children are hurting. And you may think it's something small. One parent, her child was being bullied over a video game. Cyberbullying is big too,
It
but
is.
you know how they do the Xbox and play the games and compete with each other? This child was being bullied in that sense. And it's like, you don't know, but a child will contemplate suicide just over being bullied over a game. So parents have to really tune in and talk to your children. I encourage every mother, person, sister, friend, or foe to go and do suicide prevention training. Just do it
Mhm.
anyway, just so that you can save a life. It may be a stranger, it may be a family member, it may be your child. So I encourage everyone to do that. So,
Okay.
mhm.
And so when this, situation happened with your son, did somebody encourage you to go do the suicide,
No,
training,
they
or
didn't.
you just
I just went to therapy and I recently did the suicide training a couple of months ago. I went through the therapy and I partnered up with a suicide prevention organization, but I didn't fully go through the class. It was something that I had to really finally do just for myself, even though
Yeah.
I speak. But I'm glad that I took the class because what I learned is there are triggers when I would speak about the situation before, sometimes I share the manner in which he attempted suicide, which is not good. You
Mhm.
shouldn't do that. So you shouldn't say, "Oh, this person attempted suicide by,"
Right, right.
give that description because it may inspire someone or it may trigger, someone. So going through that training, I learned that. I learned what questions to ask. I used to be afraid to say, "Hey, are you feeling like hurting yourself? Are you feeling like committing suicide? It's okay to ask a person that so you can get have full clarity. So training is really good. But before I didn't do it, I just went through the therapy with my son and I just felt like, oh, I'm loving him as a mother. He'll be okay.
Mhm.
But maybe back in January, he had another suicide attempt issue. So at that time, I worked through it with him. And
Okay.
I'm glad, so the training did help.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. And this is all part of being a mom. This is all part of being a mom because, and I'm sure, like you said, you talked about that morning or whatever, and I'm sure, after that, you're probably thinking, okay, I have 6 other children,
Mhm.
I don't want them to have to deal with
No.
this.
No.
And
Worst nightmare.
it's good for you, again, have that training, like you said, so you can, kind of
Mhm.
pay attention to them as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
You realize that there were signs that were there with this son that you didn't know. I
Mhm.
mean, and you just didn't know. It
Yeah.
wasn't that you weren't this kind and loving mom or whatever.
Right.
But sometimes things, can just like, go over our heads.
Definitely.
And so it is even with me as play, because she brought out a
Yes.
lot of that
Yes, she
stuff.
did. Yes, she did.
And it's something that, like you mentioned, our young people are really dealing with a whole lot. They're dealing with so much. They're dealing with this bullying. They're dealing with, wanting to be accepted
And loved.
and loved.
Mhm.
Not only by your family, but your
Your
friends and
friends.
your peers.
Mhm.
And it's like that's what's so important to them. And when they don't get that, then they try, so many things to as a way of crying out.
Yes.
But as parents, we have to be aware. We definitely have to be aware.
Mhm.
I know I see teachers on. Hey, there's Mia right there. I see teachers on here, and teachers have to be aware as well. Of what is in front of them, how they
Yes.
have to deal with certain things. I have a really good friend of mine. We talk almost every day, and she's working in the school. She's not a teacher, but I think I can't think of her exact title, some type of administrator, whatever. And she's telling me about, the young people and what they are faced with. She says some of them they just act out all day long.
Yes.
But there's a reason behind that.
Absolutely.
There's something, some of them they don't have the parents
No.
there for them, or the parents just let them do any and everything.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm so glad that again that you're reaching out, with this foundation and everything, and letting the mothers know that you can make it, you can do this thing. You don't have to be a victim
No.
of society or whatever is around you. You and your children can make it.
Absolutely.
You can make it. I love this. Rolanda's on. I thank you for watching. Dorothy says, "Hi, Sonia. So proud of you and your wonderful work."
Oh, hi, classmate.
Oh, hey, classmate. Yeah, we're also so proud of her as well. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna actually take a quick break just to play a little bit of music, and we can come back. Let her catch her breath a little bit. She's been talking a lot, giving us a whole lot. Hopefully, you all have been receiving from her. Do not go anywhere though, okay? Because we have so much more for the rest of this session on today. Going to continue talking to her. We've talked about the gift giveaways on today. If you're watching and your birthday is today, you have to let me know while I'm on the air, so that you can be entitled to a cash gift from Mind, Body, and Soul today. And then I'm also purchasing a ticket for Lasagna's event. So if you are interested in obtaining this ticket that I'm going to purchase for her event, you have to let me know that as well. Whether you want to let me know on the live feed or inbox me, say, hey, I can be there. Can I have that ticket? Let me know. Okay. Let's see. Buddy says, glad to hear her talk about the training on this subject. It's more than just saying that's the devil. Oh, thank you for saying that.
Mhm.
Pushing and tricking a person to kill themselves. You're right, buddy.
Yes.
I always say, we oftentimes, unfortunately, we just say, let's just pray
on it.
Yeah, pray on it. But you got to know what you're praying
You
about.
got to know what you're praying about, and you got to get medical attention in addition to that as well.
Yeah.
And mental support. So
Yes, definitely.
definitely.
And I believe God puts individuals in places.
Yes.
I advocate Christian counseling.
Mhm.
You can do that. God, he places them in these areas for a reason. So we have to take advantage of all that. Elder McGee and Tracy, thanks for watching. We're going to take a quick break. Do not go anywhere. Listen to a little bit of music. We'll come back for more of Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette right here on Intellectual Radio.
It may be raining outside, the sun is gonna shine again. Just wait and see. Hold your head high. The sun is gonna shine again on you and me. It may be cloudy outside, the sun is gonna shine again. Just wait and see. Hold your head high. The sun is gonna shine again on you and me. Things ain't looking so good. Just didn't turn out the way you thought that it should. Seems like it's cloudy all day long, but the storm will pass and you can sing a new song. But you gotta keep your head up high, and know that you're never alone. In Him you can rely. Your storm will pass, just wait and see. Don't ever lose faith in humanity. When the winds are blowing and the skies are gray, trust in Him, He'll make a way. Outside, the sun is gonna shine again. Just wait and see. Hold your head up, hold your head high. The sun is gonna shine again. Take your burdens and leave them there.
There's a brighter day on the way. Just pray.
The sun is gonna shine again. Just wait and see. Hold your head high. Hold your head up. The sun is gonna shine again.
Now let's go. Philippians 4:7. Everybody's going through something, but you gotta keep your head up. In spite of your situation, and when you can't work it out, He'll make a way. 'Cause He is good. Can I get a hey? Now throw your hands up. And let it shine. Tell them, Dion. It may endure for a night, but joy's gonna come in the morning. Believe in the shine. I'm talking to you. Just hold on, He'll see you through.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. This is Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette. We are here on Intellectual Radio. I'm here in the studio with my beautiful beauty pageant queen friend, Anya Alexander Frazier. So excited that she's here on today to talk about her foundation, we're talking about Mother's Day. We're recognizing mothers. We're understanding the plight of mothers, or what God has commissioned you all to do. It takes a lot to be a mother. It is a great responsibility that you all have, and we are recognizing you all. So again, happy Mother's Day to you all.
Happy Mother's Day.
Even those that are just now joining us as well. So Sonia's been talking about her background, talking about her children, as a matter of fact. Let me ask you this question. As you were, getting your foundation together, you were definitely doing it so that you can reach out to, those who were single moms. What kind of impact did you think that even creating this foundation would even have on your own parenting, your children? What did you kind of think about that in the sense of what were your thoughts?
As I stated, when we lived in Las Vegas, I would take my children with me to serve at the Las Rescue Mission. So they're familiar with giving. And I think that one of my children shared that it was therapeutic for them. It feels good. And I think they get that same feeling that I get when you help someone else, it helps you. And sometimes even when you're going through, when you realize, you know what, me helping someone, I may not get blessed right away. You don't do it for the purpose of it, but you do understand that you get blessed by blessing
Yes.
others. I've learned that over and over and over and over again. But my children are amazing. I still don't even understand how resilient they are, but they're blessed. They have moments where they're like, gosh, mom, why do we always have to go through stuff? Even recently we went through a couple of issues within our family, and my children understand, not to say that they don't get frustrated, but they're like, okay, mom, you know what, this is just something else that we're going to push through as a family. They're really big on supporting me when I help others. They are very, very involved, and moms can do it too. In fact, two of my children are participating in the event this Saturday. So they're singing, but my younger children will be servers. So they're accustomed to it. Even we've gone out and passed out food and things like that. They're hands on. So I think that it's helped them through and helped them understand a lot of what's going on. So, what I did realize was that mental illness is real.
It is.
So a lot of the things that had happened in my past, I was blaming myself as a mother. Even with what happened with my son, I said, Lord, what is it that I did wrong? So I went through that. I went through that period where I was beating myself up. Okay, Lasagna, was it bad relationships? Was it you making the bad decision to come back to Chicago? Was it this? Was it that? I was pointing the fingers all at me, and I never grasped that mental illness is real.
Hmm.
And I've accepted that. And now that I've done that, it's all the more better. I continue to seek help for my family. Even had a recent family member that, was discovered to have mental illness. So now I tackle it dead on, but I acknowledge that it's there and I'm learning and understanding it. One thing about me, if I don't know something, I'm going to research it, I'm going to learn so that I can be able to understand it and work through it.
Love
So
it.
that's what I'm dealing with now, because I had like I said, a recent episode with mental illness in my family that I wasn't prepared for. Sometimes things happen out the blue, and they kick you in the gut, and you're like, oh wow. But I keep going, and I'm learning, and I'm going to continue to go. But mental illness is a really big issue, especially in the Black community, and we don't want to deal with it. We don't want to acknowledge it. I am a firm believer. God is my source. I pray to the heavens above every day. But sometimes you have to be wise and you have to seek the help that you need, whether that be through counseling, therapy, seeing a doctor. We just don't do it. We don't do it. But I believe in prayer in addition to making the right decisions and doing what's best for your health, your mental health and your physical health. So I had to learn that. But my children are amazing, and I am inspired by them. They are who I live for. I don't take lightly that I have 7 children that I'm responsible for, and now I have 6 grandchildren. Everyone that knows me, that is my life. That is who I revolve myself around, in addition to helping others. But I'm blessed, and all are not able.
Right.
I had to realize, okay, God chose me to be the mother of these 7 children for a reason. And I'm not the bitter ex-wife. I'm not the bitter baby mother. I'm not. It's okay. God blessed me with these children, and I can do it. I had to learn that. And it's okay that I'm a single mother. I had an uncle that was like, you're advocating for those single women out there. That's not good. You should be ashamed. What? Ashamed that I had a bad marriage that, for 20 years that didn't work out. That's okay. I'm not ashamed of that.
Right.
I'm not ashamed that I've made some poor decisions and had some bad relationships. I'm human. I don't allow people to judge me. And that's what I tell the single moms. But I know that I was specifically chosen to be the mother of the 7 children that I have. And it's an honor. I'm blessed to be their mother.
Right.
So, and I try to share that with single moms, because you don't understand how many single mothers I see that are broken and they carry so much shame, and that passes on to your children as well.
It does.
You pass that on. So
whether it is inadvertently,
Yes.
outwardly or whatever, they see, they're watching you.
They're watching.
So if they see that, it's overwhelming for you or whatever, or they'll take that on.
They'll take it on.
They'll take it on. That's interesting. They asked you where you or said you should be ashamed.
Yeah. He was not happy with my organization. He's like, he's he was Muslim as well too, but he said that's not something you should be promoting. And I'm not promoting moms to be single. I'm not saying, hey, be a super single mom by force. But if you have to make a decision to walk away from a relationship that's not good for you, I don't want women to be afraid. I don't want them to say, hey, let me stay in this because I don't want to be a single mom. I will be honest, I stayed in my marriage for a long time because I didn't want that stigma. Ooh, she has 7 children. She ain't married.
Right.
So I did stay because I was proud of being a wife, you
Right.
know. But in the same breath, it wasn't a good situation. Get out. It's okay. And if I have to raise them on my own, I'll do that. So I am an advocate for single mothers saying, hey, do what's best for you. Make the best decision for yourself and your children. If that means that you have to be alone and raise them, then do so.
Right.
Do so. It's okay. There's support systems out here. There's child support.
Okay.
I wouldn't even go after child support because I wanted to be, hey, I am a prideful mother. I can take care of my children on my own. But guess what? I was do that. I had a right to go and petition the courts for support for my children. So I just recently did that, made that decision a few years ago because I was like, oh, oh my God, that means that I'm weak. That means that I'm not strong. I can't take care of my children. If he doesn't want to be a father, that's okay. Forget him. No, I'm not going to let him get away with that. He has a responsibility as well. So, but I want single mothers to know you are strong and it's
Yes.
okay that you ended up being a single mother by whatever reason.
By whatever reason.
Single mothers are not a bad thing,
That's
So,
true.
there's people that, they adopt children, they're single mothers. Women that do the what do you call that? Where you
Foster.
not the foster, what is that in vitro for?
Surrogate.
Surrogate mothers.
Okay.
Oh, so they're single mothers by many different categories, and I think that they're all amazing. And it doesn't mean that you're a horrible person, or it doesn't mean that you're bad if you're a single mother.
Exactly.
So,
and I'm glad because it sounds like you push past the stigmas.
yes.
And like you said, the way I saw your foundation, is again that you were just wanting to let those women know who you're actually in the situation now, but you can make it though. It's okay. That's all I see, and not that you're saying, oh, go and be a single mom.
No.
It's not like you're telling telling women, hey, I'm going to teach you how to be a single mom when you're not even a mom at that point.
Right.
But yeah, go be a single mom. No, I don't see it like that.
Yes.
I see you telling those who already are single moms that there's help out here for you, and I'm going to do what I can on my end to help you.
Absolutely.
And that definitely is so appreciated. Natalie, I see you watching. Brandy said that's good. Sometimes mothers have to empower themselves to leave a toxic situation, and and I agree because like you said, there's so many ways that you could become a single mom. I know that my mom, she became a single parent after divorce, and so she had 4 children at that point.
Okay.
So. But she and you mentioned something earlier, and it just kind of reminded me of my mom. You was like, I'm an advocate of snooping. I snoop, and that's fine because I always tell people, Mary Janelle, you did not mess around in her. That was her house.
Yes.
Okay, so whatever, she knew what was going on in her house, and she was, watching everything. My friends and I, we would laugh because you couldn't bring anything into the house without her knowing.
Right.
If I brought a ball in from outside, I'm out there playing or something. You brought it. Where you get that from? I didn't buy it.
I didn't
take it back.
Take it back.
And
a lot of mothers should do that.
Exactly. She knew what was in our our drawers. Open up the drawers or whatever, and sit around the house and the cabinets or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think we were the better for it.
Absolutely. Even with the cell phones.
Yes.
These children have the expectation that we're to pay for the tablets, we're to pay for the cell phones, but we have no right to go in them. Not in my house. Not in my house.
Right.
And in fact, everyone, put your passcodes here.
There you
Write
go.
them down, everyone.
See there?
Now, if you're doing that much and it's that bad that I can't see, that's not good. There's something wrong.
Right.
And I know everyone they deserve a certain level of privacy. But as a mother, we have to really manage these things. I mean, I know my children, my youngest one, he's on it quite a bit, and I have to get on there and say, hey, what are you looking at? I go through his messages and I snoop because I want to know what's going on.
And you should.
I'm going to be in the know. I've even looked in my children's phones and tablets, and you see predators. I've seen them.
Yes.
And even because I have 6 sons. I have 6 sons and 1 daughter. They're very handsome, by the way. I get that from their mom. But I've looked and I see these women. I'm like, hi, this is his mother.
See?
I will get you.
Right.
How old are you? Do you know how old he is? He's 12. Oh, I'm sorry. He appeared. No, you're a predator. block, and I try to, put the different restrictions and stuff on there. But I'm an advocate for that. Mothers, it's okay to snoop.
Mhm.
If your children are bothered by it, then that means there's something that they're hiding. It
Mhm.
may be something that they're going through, and it's okay. Look at the
Right.
children. They're 6 years old, 7, 9, committing suicide.
Yes.
So you can't tell me as a mother of a 6-year-old, 7, 9-year-old, I don't have a right to snoop in your business.
Right.
I do,
You do.
because, think about, not to say it's their fault or anything, but just think about things that they didn't know. They didn't know their children were hurting.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm really big on that,
Yeah.
so I snoop.
And
I encourage you to snoop.
I encourage it too. I'm not a mother, but I encourage it as well. Because again, you kind of mentioned a little bit about things we see in the news. Sometimes maybe if they had have known,
If they had known.
certain things about
Mhm.
their child or whatever, maybe their child wouldn't have tried something, or maybe the child wouldn't have died or whatever.
Think about the shooters, or think about the children that you see that have researched to make different,
Yes.
weapons and things like that. After the news is released, you see the police have gone in and looked at their browsing history,
Mhm.
and they see they were researching this, they were researching
How to
that,
make a
how to make a
bomb.
bomb, how to do that. So those parents, had they snooped and looked, gosh, what on earth are you doing researching that?
Exactly.
You know,
And how many times have they gone to the parents' house of shooters and they're
Mhm.
like, no, not my
Not
child.
my child.
They didn't do anything like
No.
that. And then, like you say, they go and search,
Mhm.
computers or whatever, and they're like, then they're shocked.
They're shocked. They're shocked. So
So,
yes, I snoop. I am big on not defending my children when they're wrong.
okay.
I got angry, and
That's
I
old school
typically
right there. I love that.
I typically I try to be as Christian like as I can on
Mhm.
social media. I don't use profanity. I really rarely will lash out about anything. But
Mhm.
a few weeks ago, and I had to go back and repent for it, because it kind of, God does whip my tail. But I had a friend of mine, and she came on, and they were speaking about some children that had done something. I can't recall what it was. And she made the comment, "Oh, I bet it was the mothers. I bet you at the home, the mother so and so and so and so, and let them do so and so." And I said, "Hold on. Wait a minute. Who are you to say that? How do you not know that child's mother is not a praying mother that has prayed tirelessly, and her children just make the wrong decision? Sometimes children make the wrong decision. You can't always blame it on the parent. I have 6 sons. I have sons that have made poor decisions. I don't support them, and I try to reprimand them, but sometimes children make the wrong decision.
Mhm.
So some of those children that are out there that are, shooters, or that are doing, it's not the parents' fault. And I didn't take kind to that. I got upset, because you can't say that.
Right.
And I want to speak for those mothers like myself that have had children that have made, a few mistakes. Because, don't get it misconstrued. My children are not perfect. They've
Right.
had some issues, and I'm very transparent about that. But don't blame the mother. You can't always say, "Oh, they're from a bad home." No, don't say that, because sometimes they come from a good home, but there's negative influences outside the home.
There
Think
you go.
about peer pressure and things of that nature, people wanting to fit in. So I got upset, and I lashed out at her on Facebook. I was like, "Who are you to say that? Shame on you."
Mhm.
I got really upset. But I want to speak, like, even for those single mothers that have children that may have went into the system, or may have ended up in juvenile doing things like that. Don't sit up and bash them. Say, "Hey, what happened? What can I do to help?" Some of those children don't have fathers at home.
Right.
And it's not the single mother's fault. Reach out and see what programs you can refer them to, or why don't you roll your sleeves up and volunteer to be a mentor,
There you
or
go.
refer them to a mentor,
Mhm.
instead of passing judgment. So I got passionate about that, but I try to encourage people. That's why I mentor any way that I can. I will tell you, I will share really quick that I have Moms Can Do It Too, but I'm launching Kids Can Do It Too. So I'm excited about that. So I'll
Wonderful.
be reaching out for mentors for that, for my organization, because we need it.
Yes.
We need it.
Okay.
I'm sharing and looking at what I'm going through with my children, and having a lack of a time, or even having a 10-minute conversation with a child. You can change their life, or steer them in the right direction. So I
Right.
encourage that.
So now, what will be the focus of the Kids Can Do It?
The Kids Can Do It to encouraging those children that are, in those situations in the tough neighborhoods, letting them know that they can do it too. They can graduate. They
Love
can
it.
be leaders in their family. They can go to college. A lot of them have that stigma stuck on them, and they're like, I'm just defeated. I can't do anything but
Mhm.
turn to the streets.
Mhm.
I can't do anything but go to a gang. I can't do anything but end up, out in the streets doing drugs. No, let the kids know they can do it too. They can be whatever they want. So that's my mission with that.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Because unfortunately, some of them automatically think that they're not going to make it past a certain age
Oh,
because
definitely.
they think they're going to be, killed.
Killed.
And depending upon whatever area they're
Mhm.
living in or go to school or what have you. Some of them they just seem like they just have no hope.
Hopeless. And a lot of them, parents say this, and you're old school, so you've heard a mother say, "You're gonna end up just like your daddy.
Oh yes.
You're gonna be like your daddy," and that you impute that in their spirit,
And they take
and
it
they
in.
take it in, and that's what they do. My ex-husband, that's all everyone ever said to him. You're gonna be like your dad. You're gonna be like your dad. And he was challenged, but he overcame it. But that's part of why I'm coming up. I came up with Kids Can Do It Too, because I want to inspire those children that are beat down because of their fathers or because of their mothers. You don't have to end up like them. You can be better and do better. So
Love it. I
thank
love
you.
it.
Thank you.
And so I'm quite sure your children will be a part of this.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
They're going to be on the forefront of it.
I love it. I
Thank you.
love it. Comment here, Tanja says, that is so true. You have to watch and snoop, know who they hang out with, where
Yes.
they are going.
Absolutely.
And, again, I can only reflect back on my mom. And, I used to get so upset because she wouldn't let us go anywhere and do anything. And you can't even think about going to spend a night at anybody's
Oh,
house.
no.
That was just a no-no. Other kids, they were doing it or whatever, but mama didn't let you do it. And now where we were, when I was growing up, where we lived, we were on one block. My mother's younger sister was to the east of us on a different block, just one block east of us. And another one was one block west of us. So we're kind of like sandwiched in between, I couldn't even walk to their houses. I couldn't even go to my aunt's house,
Wow.
by myself or whatever, or, no, you can't. You can't do that, and it's like, I think I tried, I got in trouble, but no, she, made sure she understood these are my children. This is, who I'm raising.
Right.
And we were her
And
responsibility.
she had to protect you.
Definitely. So, I love that concept of the kids can do it too, though. I love it
you.
because, again, they can get lost,
Yes.
That's why I was even asking you about their, what were your thoughts about them when you started your foundation? Moms Can Do It Too. Would they, supportive, or were they like, nah, mom, please don't, whatever?
How does it feel? Even when I, do an appearance or speak on a radio show, my children watch. And I'm like,
Okay.
is this okay? Have I crossed any boundaries? I do make it my business not to share which child attempted suicide.
Beautiful.
That's his, I respect his privacy.
Right.
But I do, follow up with him and say, hey, son, how did you feel about that? At one point, I started just sharing, and I didn't go and say, hey, son, are you okay with it? And he was a little upset at first, but now that he's in a good place and he's healing, he's like, Mom, I'm so glad that you're sharing.
Oh, beautiful.
It makes me feel good. I'm glad. And he does music. And he's beginning to share that. Now, some of his music I can't share because
okay.
Okay. Like I told him, Mommy loves you, but, with profanity and things like that, I can't share. But that doesn't mean that I don't support you.
Mhm.
But he healed himself through his music, which is good. And my other children do music as well. But
Right.
I'm very adamant about not, specifying which child with situation.
Right,
If you
right.
notice that I never,
Mhm.
say that. But
Mhm.
they're proud. I always ask them, how does that feel? Because they're on the forefront as well.
Yes.
People see who my children are. They know who my children are. So I'm like, are you guys embarrassed? And I'm like, no, this is what happened to us. And, we're just as strong as you are. And I make them know that because they are strong.
Yes.
They've been through a lot. And when I go through, they go through. When they go through, I go through. So
Definitely.
it's encouraging to know that they're supportive, and they've become little Moms Can Do It Too advocates and little I'm like, I think I have a house full of little ministers. I know my children are anointed. There's a couple that I know have a divine gift. And I'm watching them evolve and develop it. They're not perfect. Like, the devil comes in and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? That's not what you're supposed to do. But I learned I had to back off and let God work, and I have to trust his plan and trust that they're going to be who I know that they're going to be. But very inspirational children, very loving. Most people see my children on social media. They lash out at times too, but for the most part, they're amazing kids and I'm proud of them. But they're not shamed. They're happy, and they've began to share with their friends and say, hey, or they'll come over and say, Mom, my friend is going through this. They even bring some home. And I'm like, hey,
Like you're supposed to fix everybody, right?
I told them, just because I have 7, they're like, well, Mom, you always cook a whole bunch of food. I'm like, maybe I want to have leftovers tomorrow. No, but it's a blessing. My children bring a lot of their friends home. I will share that one of my children, and this was the harsh reality of relocating back to Chicago, what I didn't really want to deal with the violence. But one of my children, his best friend was murdered maybe a month and a half ago, and he is having a very, very difficult time. And children just shouldn't go through that.
No.
They shouldn't go through that. And I see it every day. And I really realized and hit home like, this child was just in my house. So it hurt me too, and I thought about, oh, what were the last things that I could have said to him? Was there anything I could have done? But watching my child hurt because of losing a friend to violence, it's just sad. It's sad. And I told on the post that I put through that, I said, I pray every day that my children never fall victim to it, and that they don't ever become the victimizer, because people don't understand that piece of it too.
There are two
Because
sides.
you're here, you're in the tough area. Children now have the mindset, it's kill or be killed, or I need to protect myself. At one point I was going to get a concealed carry, but I'm like, you know what? No, I'm afraid. Because I don't want to be that mother and they say, oh, hey, there was a gun here, someone was hurting me, let me go and do something. I had a child that felt like, okay, I need to carry a gun. I'm afraid, someone's going to hurt me again. So sometimes it says a double-edged sword. It's just really scary. And I'm really sorry for that mother losing her child. And you think about all the mothers that are losing their children to violence, and these children are killing each other over anything.
Small things we wouldn't even have thought about back in the day.
Back in, it had to be something really bad for you to go and get a gun and literally try to harm somebody.
No, it had to be something real bad for you to go and just do it and have a fight, a fist fight or whatever, something. They didn't come out with the, knives and stuff and guns, Oh my God, no, we didn't have to deal with that. It's almost like it's a war zone now,
it's a war zone,
or some of them almost seem like they're trying to play top that,
right,
or kill as many as they can.
There's also a thing where I learned from one of my nephews, if you have a friend that was murdered and you know how we wear the rest in peace shirts, that opposition gang or the person that may have been involved, if they see that, they'll kill anyone that has that memorandum on it. And I'm like, they're just trying to, represent their loved one, and they have to be killed because of that. So it's really scary out here. And that's why I say, if you can be a mentor, these men out here, if you could be a mentor, please do so. I had a friend, Douglas September. They did the ties. I had to go to Vegas, or I would have participated, but got the ties together for the young men. And then he had a big event a couple of weeks ago. It's not that difficult. It doesn't take a lot of money. One thing I noticed, that when I reach out and ask for business suits or casual wear, women are, oh, please, I've been waiting to get rid of this stuff, especially those women that are shopaholics, you divas out there that,
there you go,
that are glad to, get rid of stuff. But just take a moment to look in your closet. And I'm doing dads can do it too as well. So some of you guys that have outgrown those suits because you ate a little bit too many greens, the suit is a little too tight, put them to the side. Just, you don't understand how you can bless someone. And not only just for job interviews, but just to build their self-esteem up, just to get them in the mindset of dressing for success, dressing like your mother raised you.
There you go.
Not with your pants sagging. And so some of them don't have the clothes. I've seen so many young men, they don't have any suits in their wardrobe. And my dad used to say, every man should have a minimum of at least 3 suits. Let's get them that. Let's let them have it. So things like that. I could go on and on.
Oh, I love this. I love it, though. No, you're doing very well in today. Let's see. I think that we have a spoken word by Elder Kevin McGee.
Nice.
I want to hear that. And when we come back, I want to talk about, other things that you're doing to kind of help these single women, aside from the Mother's Day event that you have going on, because there's so much that I know you need to deal with them. So yes. I want to hear about that as well. But let's take a listen to the spoken word by Elder Kevin McGee. And he has a show here on Saturdays entitled Connections at 12 noon Central Standard Time. Take a listen and we'll be right back.
Sometime your mind begins to twirl, your world swirls, cares of life overwhelming, but you've got to keep pushing. Because if you don't keep pushing, who will? You've got to make sure that yours is taken care of. And when you are alone, you do what you have to do. You see, the sacrifice is small compared to the great things that shall result from it. It takes a village to raise a child, so they say. But what happens when the village is deserted? When everyone has moved on out of the village and get lost in the city? That's when you have to roll up your own sleeves and move in the strength of God as He supplies every need, open doors you never knew existed, and elevates to heights you never knew possible. So, what do? You do whatever needs to be done. Basketball mom, cheerleader, doctor, referee. Someone is depending upon you because they know if anyone can, you can. It's a juggling act, but you've got it mastered. So stand tall as the queen that you are because you have proven that when you are every woman, anything is possible.
All right, all right. Two snaps. If I could snap with my right hand, I would do it. Thank you, Elder McGee. On point again. It takes a village. It takes a village. It really does. And we say that so often, but it is so accurate. It is so true. Um, I know I want to ask you about, things that you're doing for the single mothers. Do you have like different events throughout the year, or do you just have a place where you go and you just let them come and vent? I mean, what do you do with this organization for the single mothers?
So in the meantime, when I don't have a solid location, I utilize my mom's church quite a bit, which is Ash Trinity House of Power Ministries, 8248 South Ashland. We have sessions there. In addition to that, I pass out free diapers and baby wipes. I do that a couple of times throughout the year. That's something that's really huge because diapers can be very expensive. You would be surprised how many times a single mom can't afford to buy diapers for her children. So I get calls throughout the year. I get calls on a weekly basis. I had a friend reach out yesterday. We work together. She has the Better Sister Girl Network. Her name is Lakeisha Tate, on finding someone shelter. I had a mom yesterday who was evicted. She shared with me there was a mother a couple of days ago they had gotten into a domestic violence situation and had gotten actually stabbed, and she needed to find somewhere to go. So work with different organizations. We work throughout the year. She was telling me yesterday, especially her biggest focus is domestic violence. So I do as a whole because for whatever reason God has had me touch involved in so many categories. I've experienced so much. I've experienced domestic violence, the loss of a loved one to violence, homelessness, job loss. So I pretty much people can reach out to me for anything, and I share different resources. But I get calls every week. We were talking yesterday, and she was so hurt because all the shelters that she had known didn't have anyone. So she was like, "What's the name of the shelter you stayed in before?" Which was Morningstar. So she reached out. I didn't get the outcome to see, but she was to the point she's crying. She's like, "If my basement wasn't full, I would have her come here." She said she was 20 years old with a 2-year-old. So I said, can I have her come here? And I said, oh, well, okay. So we go through that, and it's hard because I've been there. It's hard when you sit up in here, someone has nowhere to go. I keep reflecting back on that moment when I woke up, and it was a short while after I had relocated back here, and I woke up and looked up in the sky, and I was sleeping out of my truck. And I was like, how did this happen? I mean, it can happen overnight. You're the saying, you hear people say you can live paycheck to paycheck. So I try to tell people, don't take it for granted. And if you can save a penny a day, put it to the side because you never know. You just never know. Situations come up. People end up homeless for many reasons. It could be a fire. It could be a life-threatening situation. I've ended up homeless because a landlord didn't tell me that a home was in foreclosure that I was renting. So it can be for many different, circumstances. You can end up homeless. So I think about that. I think about the times when diapers. I was like, goodness gracious, and then there's some mothers out there that have multiple small children. I never had that happen, but can you imagine having two in diapers?
Like, yes.
Two. So what I do is I get the diapers and I get the baby wipes too, because I'm like, don't buy one without the other. So,
Right.
when the weather permits, and I try to keep some on hand. So in case someone calls, I always put that out there. So I have people call and say, hey, Lasagna, you have a case of diapers. Do you have this on hand? So just basically sharing my resources,
Okay.
sharing my expertise. My biggest thing is working to get a location, because I want a one-stop shop community center for the moms. I want them to be able to come and get everything they need in my location, whether that be the job training, resume preparation. I want them to be able to come in and get their work clothes. One-stop shop. So when they walk out the door, they can have all the tools they need and equipped to go and restart their lives or go and get the job that they may be trying to get, and then follow through with them. I have a special mom this weekend. She's one of my speakers, but she was my first mom that I helped with my organization when I first did my Ready to Work event 3 years ago, and she's going to be at the event. I have something very special for her. But when she got out, she had just gotten out of doing 4 years in prison.
Wow.
And she was like, I'm having a hard time. I can't find a job. She's like, I'm trying to go to interviews and just having a rough time. And when I tell you the success, you'll hear about it at my event. She's going to come and share. She's doing real estate and everything now. But when she first got out, she had just served 4 years in prison. And, that's tough in itself. You have to come out with a whole new mindset. Things have changed, and to come out and you have no resources. So her and her daughter were one of my first moms that came and started with Moms Can Do It Too. So I'm excited to have her there. But those are just some of the women that I help.
Right.
So,
Definitely.
and one thing about me, I have a network of women that we are not competitive. We work together. So like I mentioned, Lakeisha, if I don't have something, or if I don't know of any assistance that I can offer to them, then I'll redirect them somewhere else. So that's big too.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always have everything. You
Nope.
don't know everything. So reach out. And so I keep myself surrounded with people like that, and women like that, and men for that matter too. I would like to have more men in the network, because it seems like it's, more so a lot of women out there that are, trying to do.
Yes.
So I want more men to step up and roll their sleeves up to help out.
Yeah, that would be nice. Unfortunately, sometimes the only way you'll kind of get them in is maybe if they've experienced it themselves or something, they
Yeah.
can understand and
Mhm.
know. Because sometimes they just don't know. They
Yeah.
don't, they see you do, oh yeah, that's good you're doing or whatever, but it's not like they're gonna jump in and do
No.
something,
No.
about it.
No.
But that's good that you have, like you said, the networking, with other organizations and groups or whatever, to kind of help them refer. So if somebody needs something, they can just call you, or do they
Or they can inbox
inbox
me.
you?
Yeah, they message
Okay.
me
Okay.
on the website. They can send a message there, momscandoit2.com. And I share my phone number. They can call me. People call in the middle of the night. If I don't answer, I'll get it when I wake up, and I'm like, oh goodness, what happened? And I help in any way that I can.
Right.
Reason being is because a lot of what they're experiencing, or I've gone through it.
And
I've gone through it. So most women don't know. Not only do they not know the resources, but they don't know how to utilize them. And that's what happened with a lot of those women in the shelter. Now, when I was in that shelter, they had referrals for job training and things like that, but the women just didn't use it.
Right.
They didn't use it. They had resources where you could go to the county and pick out some work clothes. So that's where I got the idea of the Ready to Work events.
Okay.
Because they'll say, oh, you could, when I was at the shelter, I said, well, I still have my clothes. When I was homeless, I still had my belongings. Thank God they were in storage, but
Good.
I said, let me see what this is about. She said, hey, we give out clothing vouchers. I said, oh, well, let me see what this is about. So I went to the county and I looked and I said, wow, they have some nice stuff here. So that's where I got the idea of doing the Ready to Work closet events and providing the work clothes.
Okay, so if they're going out for an interview or trying to get a
Mhm.
job, or if after they've attained the job, they can still. Okay.
Yes, they can still come. And then even church clothes. Some people, they don't go to church because they don't have clothes.
True.
So they feel like, I can't go to God's house in my jeans and that, which
Right.
you can,
You
most
can.
churches say come as you are, but you have some of those churches that are sticklers like, hey,
Mhm.
you can't come up here looking any
Right.
kind of
Right.
way,
Right.
which it shouldn't be. My
Mhm.
church isn't like that. Thank God, it's come
Mhm.
as you are, but some people feel inadequate because they don't have dress clothes. So we provide them with that as well. It's not just business attire. I get a lot of beautiful dresses,
Okay.
so I share those as well.
Oh, good. You're making me think. At my church, they had just established a closet,
Good.
what they call it for. Because we get
Hmm.
a lot of women coming in, a lot of men coming in who just need, clothes.
Right.
Not just for church, whatever,
Right.
but yeah. So I think that's so important because you can't forget about those individuals. And like you said, someone want to come, but they may
Hmm.
not feel like they're
No,
dressed appropriately or
they don't.
whatever.
So they'll stay
But
away.
yeah, they'll stay away.
Hmm.
Kiana says, best friend, go best friend.
She always says, "Hey, Kiana."
Thanks for watching. We appreciate you. Yeah, we're talking today. We're recognizing moms. We are talking about moms can do it too. I'm so appreciative of this organization because people need it. The women need it. Single moms, they need it. Tell me about your support system, kids. Tell me about you kind of talked about it a little bit, even with those that you network with, but other support systems that are helping you with this foundation. And I'm gonna tell you this before you answer that question. I'm just believing God that He is going to give you that location,
Thank you.
that
Thank
that
you.
one stop, because it's so important. You mentioned about the women, or the one that had just served 4 years in prison. Sometimes we forget about those women that are behind
Yes.
bars
Yes.
that are mothers,
Yes.
and then when they come out, now what?
Now what? They're stuck.
They're stuck.
They're already working to, try to get their children. Some of them, their children may be in the system. So
Hmm.
it's so much on them.
Right.
It's so hard. That's why I commend the young lady. She'll share, and I won't say it because she's going to share at my
Okay.
event, and I'll share afterwards. But I try to empower them. But imagine being gone for a lengthy period of time. Even some have lost their children being on the outside. Their children have gone into the system for them making poor decisions. And I am a big advocate on. My dad taught me that don't judge people, don't pass judgment. Like I said, he only employed people that had backgrounds, people that had served time in prison and served. I'm sorry, that may have had previous drug addictions and things like that. And I grew up around them, and
Right.
some of those were the best people. They were human. They made mistakes. They were loyal. They were gentle. They weren't monsters.
Right.
But he empowered them to get back on their feet because a lot of them, people turn their nose up at them and they wouldn't give them a job. Now, I'm not saying, some people after those violent offenders, stay away.
Right.
I don't want to be bothered with you. Stay away.
Bottom line.
Bottom line. But for those that made a few wrong turns, a few, bad decisions, even people that have, previously had addictions, there's always a root cause to it. So, but people need support.
They
So
do.
I'm big on that as well.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Let's see here. Okay. I did ask you that question, so you can
My
answer that.
support system, I get support when I ask for it.
Okay. All right.
So there isn't a constant, my mom is my biggest support. That's my biggest cheerleader.
I figured that's who you were going to talk
Yeah,
about, though.
she is the epitome of a godly woman. I was just talking to someone yesterday, and I was sharing how many clothes my mother had. And I was telling them, she's going to get mad, mommy, but sorry. She can meet you, and the next week or if I bring someone around or she meets a friend of mine, she'll call the next week and say, hey, you know what? Remember that young lady, Kiana? You know what? I got something. I was in the store shopping and I saw something for her. Moms. But that's who
Really?
she is. Yeah. So that's also where I got my idea because she always has something just for anyone. I mean, you can literally go to her house right now and go shopping. Honestly.
That's like my aunt. That's how my aunt is.
Your size 10, you can go in there and get about 20 outfits. That's just who she is. I've always watched her bless people. And I'll tell you, when I was younger, I used to be so jealous. I used to be so annoyed. I'm like, why do I have to share my mother with everyone?
Wow.
I had so many, I'm like, oh, here's another God sister. Oh, Lord, here's another. But I realized that's who my mother
It's
was.
coming
That's
out the
who God
woodworks.
made her to be. But I was jealous when I was younger. I'm like, why do you have to help so many people? And it's not that, there was a lack thereof with me. I was just like,
Why?
Mom,
Just why?
why? Just why do you have to help everyone? And I didn't understand the responsibility. I didn't understand the woman of God that she was. And now I see her and I aspire to be just like her.
Beautiful.
So that's where I got that from. But if I sneeze wrong, I'm picking up the phone.
Call
Call the mom. I made a post the other day.
Right.
Because I was having, when you do these events, I was having anxiety, and I'm like, oh, this is happening, this is happening. And I called my mother, and I'm telling you, in 5 minutes, within that, she got me right. I was like, oh, okay. She's like, let's get this together. Bam, bam, bam. I got off that phone like,
Right.
wow,
Oh my goodness.
why couldn't I do that? But it's just her soothing voice, her God spirit and her energy. And I'm like, that's who I want to be. But she's my biggest support system. Anything that I do, you can best believe I'm calling my mom. I'm
Yes.
reaching out to my mom. I'm asking for her advice, her prayer, her input. Biggest thing is her prayer, because the saying, the prayers of the righteous availeth much. And I'm telling you, I feel like my mom's blessing is a covenant over everything that I do.
Yes.
And especially even with this organization, she's been supporting me since day one. But when I reach out for help, I did a fundraiser on Facebook. I had never did that before. And I was so amazed at the support that I got. I said, oh, ching, ching. Oh, there's another $20. There's another $25, but I thank God, because that means that the people know, that I'm a woman of integrity. They know my passion, and they want to support me. So that meant the world. So to all of you that donated to my fundraiser for my event, I thank you, and I will not disappoint you. You will see
Definitely.
this Saturday.
Definitely. Okay. Well, I love it. I figured you were going to talk about your mom. That's why another reason why I was asking you about your support.
That's right. JC Evie Jackson, Pastor JC Evie Jackson.
Beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful. And that woman can dress too. Oh my gosh. When I met her at that event, it was they both blew my mind. I think I have a call on the line. Can you hit the
This one?
yes. Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette.
Hi, Annette. It's Darius from Final Melody.
Hey, Darius, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I have Darius calling in. They are actually the Real Final Melody. If you all don't know, that's one of my favorite a cappella groups. And what they're doing something special for Mother's Day. So I wanted him to call in to talk about it, because I want you guys to support this group. And this is a phenomenal idea. I don't know who came up with it, but it's a phenomenal idea that they have for Mother's Day. So I thought it'd be appropriate. We're talking about moms on today. So if you can tell us about it, Darius, take your time and tell us about what you guys are doing and how they can participate in this.
All righty. Well, for Mother's Day, Final Melody has came up with an idea to do Mother's Day grams, our Final Melody Mother's Day grams. They are cards that consist of singing and a bunch of fun, just fun. All right.
Okay.
I should have
our standard program is $10. If they go for sale, you can acquire through the website, or you can inquire through the email, or you can inquire through our Facebook at The Real Final Melody.
Okay.
Everything.
Okay. All right. I don't know. I saw Josh on. Josh, are you able to type in, if you're still watching, the actual website, or maybe somebody can, maybe when you get off the phone or whatever, put the website in. But it's a, what did you call it again? It's a melogram. Is that what it is?
Yep. The Final Melody Melograms.
Final Melody Melograms. So they're gonna sing.
Nice.
So anyone who purchases this, you can. Oh God, this is such a wonderful idea. Okay, Brandy, put it up. So Final Melody a cappella groups Mother's Day singing grams, and she gave an example. So this is wonderful.
That's nice. I should have had that for my event. Can they sing one? Give us a sample.
Oh. Are you alone right now? Because I don't know if you have the other guys with you or not.
Yes, I'm alone right now.
Oh, he's alone right now.
Okay.
But Lasagna was just saying she should have had you guys at her event. So I don't know what you guys are doing on Saturday or whatever, but maybe we can kind of talk after the show. Maybe we can talk after the show, see what your schedule allows. So this is great. Again, the Final Melogram. And
it's beautiful.
They're using their talent.
That's a blessing.
Their talent. I always say that they are like my favorite group, favorite a cappella group, and they do such a wonderful job.
I love their voices.
Yes. Whatever they tackle, they do it well, whether it's something from, Motown or whatever. They can take it and tackle it to Christmas music. And I just appreciate, again, you all using your gifts for something like this. This is a great way to recognize and appreciate moms. So you guys can contact them to get your order in. You will not be disappointed, and the individual that you purchase it for will not be disappointed. The website is The Real FM, so TheRealFM.com. So you can go there to their website. Their melograms, they're available. I think you have to get them in. Is it today? Is today the last day?
I believe so.
Okay, we want you guys to hurry up and contact them, because what they're going to be delivering them on Sunday. Is that right? They'll be delivered.
Pardon?
Well, when will they be delivered? On Mother's Day?
On Mother's Day, just in time.
Okay, just in time on Mother's Day. So you guys need to get your orders in so they can have time to prepare. You may want to do one for your mom or your grandmother or what have you. They can do it, and I promise you won't be disappointed. This is beautiful. They have, like, I think 3 or 4 different ones that you can choose from. You can either get just the singing or singing with pictures, and they're just, it's just all laid out. I tell you,
timing.
I love it. Yes. Okay. Brandy says you can order until the 10th. Wow. Okay.
That's good.
So you guys get it in as soon as possible, though. Don't make them wait. Don't make them sweat, and don't come in on the 11th asking. I'm just kidding. But Darius, again, thank you so much for calling in today to tell us about this, and we appreciate you guys and what you're doing, and support you in everything that you do. So we just thank you, and the rest of the Final Melody team there in the group. All right, you take care. Okay.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
Yep, you can hit that. Okay.
Nice.
All right, great. Yes, I wanted them to call in to talk about that. So yeah, maybe we can kind of make some kind of connection.
Yeah, that would be
you
nice.
guys, I want to encourage you all to please contact Final Melody.
Wow.
This is I thought it was a great idea.
Sounds amazing.
Yes. Yeah, a mellogram. And they have great voices. Oh, I think we have another call on the line. This is Mind, Body, and Soul.
Hello, happy Wednesday. It's Josh from Final Melody.
I know who this voice is. How are you?
Good, how are you? I just wanted to get on here and surprise everybody and say Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, that was nice.
Darius did a really good job at explaining the Final Melograms.
Yes.
And yeah, we hope that you guys love the idea. I don't remember who came up with the idea, but it was something that we wanted to do for a while, and we finally actually made it happen. So we hope you guys get out and support and keep supporting the group. We also will be at Bronzeville Summer Nights in August. We didn't promote that yet, but it's on our, I think we promoted it on our Facebook page, but we'll also be performing there live. So check that out. But I don't want to take too much time. I want to say hello, everybody. Hi, Miss Adele. We love you.
Hi, love you more. And Lasagna is a big fan too. So she loves you guys.
Love you too. Love you too. Thank you for your support.
All right, great. Thanks for calling in, Josh. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
You're so sweet.
That was nice. We got two members that called in. So yeah, you guys, please make sure you contact them. I think it's going to be great. And all of this is working. Mother's Day weekend. Yes. You got Lasagna's event, and then you can order a mellogram, be delivered on Mother's Day to the mother of your choice, if I can say it like that. Somebody you want to let them know that you appreciate them. So I think that's great. Back to Lasagna and her foundation. I appreciate all the support that you get. Like I said, I'm looking forward to the Lord just opening up doors and just blessing you to be able to do what you need to do. Because again, we talked about you having such a big heart for people, and I know that the Lord looks on that and He smiles.
Thank
You
you.
know,
Thank you.
and as you were talking, I said, well, she got it honest. She talked about a mom. I talked about her dad with her earlier today, and so you had no choice. You got it on both sides.
Both sides.
So that I love that. You know, when people can give of themselves and see that others are they're in need, and you can do whatever you can to help them. Networking is always key. It's
Yes.
always good to network with these groups and keep in contact with them, stay in contact with them, you know, because you never know what can come up.
Right.
Never know what can come
Right.
up. So let me ask you, what do you, since you started the foundation, tell me about some successes. You don't necessarily have to mention names or whatever that you've had with the foundation. And I'm quite sure that, you know, anytime you start anything, whether it's a foundation or what have you, you may you may come across some doubting in yourself or the foundation itself, like, okay, well, should I really start this? Should I continue? So I want to hear about those two things before we end on today.
So I'll start with the doubting myself.
Okay.
At some point, you know, I I got angry with God because I, you know, went through a few things, and I said, why? I am constantly out there trying to be an advertisement for the kingdom.
Right.
I am out there constantly trying to inspire people. I don't need anything else. I'm like, Lord, I don't need any more situations. I have enough testimonies to last me for the rest of my life. So,
like, Lord, you must have a lot of confidence in me. All this I'm going through.
I've shown my strength. Okay, you call me resilient. I get it. Enough is enough. You know, these last couple of months, they have been really trying. And I said, you know, I will be honest. There was one moment I was sitting at home and I was crying. And I said, Lord, you know, you're allowing the devil to make a mockery of me because I take pride in showing people who God is. You know, I am proud of that. I love to encourage someone and say, hey, you know what? I've been through that. God got me through it. You can get through that too.
Yes.
But here you come with something else.
Like, here's one other thing.
I said, what? Oh, here this comes. You know, even recently with them, I had a mental illness episode with my child, and I was like, okay, you know, enough. Then I lost my father. So let me clarify, because some may not understand. I have two fathers. I have my biological father, which was Millard Frazier. He was a devout businessman, owned many businesses, had a restaurant, Asbestos Abatement and Air Testing Company, clothing stores. I mean, my dad was phenomenal. He was amazing. And then I have my father that raised me, which was Howard Ridley. He's the one that passed away back in February. So I'm sorry, January 8th. I think it was January 8th, February 8th. I can't remember.
Right.
It was just recently anyway. And so I have two fathers and they're both deceased now. Ironically, both of my fathers were born June the 1st. So which is coming up. That's going to be a, you know, pretty tough day. But my father led by example. He was really big on, my father Millard was a devout businessman. He was really big on helping people. And that's where I got a lot of my entrepreneurial spirit from.
Right.
I was a little girl. He would take me to his beauty salons, in his restaurants. I worked in his beauty salon. In fact, at one point, I've shared this story a few times. A little bit before my dad passed away, he took me to breakfast and he said, hey, daughter, he said, I'm moving to Georgia. I said, okay. He said, I'm going to go open up some businesses down there. And I was like, great. He said, well, I'm going to leave the beauty salon to you. And I was like, oh, yay, I'm excited because I've been working for free for. I was like, you can get out of here. Maybe I can get some of this payroll.
Right. There you go.
He was like, daughter, he said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the beauty salon to you. He said, I'll take 60% and you take 40%. I said, Daddy, 40, no, you take 40%, I'll take 60. And he looked at me like, are you crazy? You know, I was only 20 years old at the time. So let me clarify that because I was not business savvy. And I honestly did not understand the opportunity that he was, you know, presenting me with. So I got mad at my dad. I was like, you know what? I've been working for you for free for years. And I did my little rant, and I literally I was mad at him. I did not talk to my dad after that, because I felt like, you know, I've worked all these years. You know, he didn't
Wow.
pay me and blah, blah, blah. But I didn't understand
Yes.
the gift. I didn't understand what he was giving me. And I had my first son, Keenan, at the time. So I'm like, and I got a baby. I'm like, you know. So I actually didn't talk to my father. And I think maybe uh maybe about 2.5 months went by, and my stepmother called me and she said, your dad had a heart attack. And I was like, okay. And I'm listening to the call, like, okay, is he still alive? She's like, yeah, he's okay. And I was like, oh, okay, good. Still stubborn, because I felt, I was still angry with my dad. I felt like he was cheating me, but like I keep saying, I did not understand the magnitude of what he was trying to bless me with. And so I said, well, I'm not calling. He's okay. He's alive. That's fine. But I'm still angry with him because I felt like, how dare you offer me 40%? You're supposed to offer me 60. If you're leaving the salon to me and I'm going to be running the business, you know, I should get more than that. Which, not understanding, it was his business. He didn't have to give it to me.
True.
And 40%, that was a good business offer back then, So maybe 2 more months went by, and God placed it on my heart to call this particular day. So my dad had a beauty salon down on 40th and King Drive. It was at the Ritz Hotel. It was called Ritz Hair Blasters. So that's where I get the skill of doing hair. Most of the people on my dad's side, they're hairstylists by trade. So I picked up the phone and I said, you know what, let me call daddy today. I miss my dad, because I would work with him every day. So after I got angry, I didn't see my father after that. That's how stubborn and unforgiving and angry I was, because I felt like, he's trying to take advantage of me, like I said, not understanding. So I called the shop where, my dad was, and my sister, my younger sister, she was 13 at the time. She answered the phone, and I said, hey, is dad there? And I could hear my dad's voice in the background. And she said, Dad, my nickname is Kiki. So she said, Dad, Kiki's on the phone. And my dad was like, oh my goodness, y'all, my daughter's on the phone. My daughter loved me again, making he was laughing. And I was like, and she said, you want to talk to him? I said, no, just tell him that I said I love him. And she said, Daddy, Kiki said she loves you. And I could hear him in the background. He said, tell my daughter I love her too, and that she made my day. He said, tell her to remember everything that I taught her. And I said, okay, all right. And I said, I'll talk to you later. She said, okay, bye, sister. I love you. It wasn't even maybe a couple of hours later, I got a phone call, and it was my little sister. And she said, sister. And I said, what do you want? I just talked to you. She said, your dad is dead. And I said, what did you just say? She said, Daddy is gone. Daddy is dead. Whew. And I said, stop playing around. What's wrong with you?
Oh my God.
Are you crazy? And I dropped the phone and I just started screaming. And I'm sorry.
It's okay.
My mother came to the phone and she said, is this a joke? What is going on? And my sister proceeded to tell her that my father had been murdered in front of his beauty salon. And that's all I heard, murdered. I said, murdered? My father was murdered. What happened? And, that was one of the worst days of my life. But I will tell you, the lesson that I learned is to forgive.
Yes.
It's to forgive. So I harbored all of that anger over something so frivolous. Like that was such a huge, first of all, it was a huge opportunity for me, but I missed out on those last 4 months of spending more time with my father, continuing to learn from him, because he taught me business. I've ran multi-million-dollar companies because of the experience and the learning that my father shared from running his businesses. So I learned two valuable lessons: the lessons of forgiving, and the lesson that you have to understand what people bless you. You have to understand the gift. That was a gift for him to teach me. So all those free hours that I put in taught me how, at 13 years old, how to run a business, how to do payroll. I was doing all of that. I was bossing people around at 13 years old. I was telling the employees, my dad said you got to come in at 9. Nope, stop eating that food. I'm going to take that out of your check. I mean, I was just something else. I was a little protege of my dad. So I learned that from him. But the biggest lesson was to forgive. People have hurt me, and people wonder why. And I'm not going to say I'm perfect. There's some people that have upset me a little bit, but I try not to hold grudges because of that. I had to learn to forgive. The Bible says, if God forgives me every day for some of the things that I do. So
Come on.
who am I not to do the same? But especially when it comes to family, we need to forgive because tomorrow is not promised.
Not at all.
And for a while, I was young. I was 20 when he was killed. But as I got older, I realized the value of me making that phone call. I took solace in the fact I called him on the last day he was on this earth,
Mm.
and I told him that I love him. And after that, I made it my mission to try to live he wasn't perfect, but the biggest thing he did, he was a philanthropist, he was a humanitarian, and that's something that I continue to aspire to be like him. So that's where I got that from, in addition to my mom. So the platform was laid for me. It's really no other route that I can take.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
I have a lot to live up to, and it would be like, are you Josephine's child? Are you Millard's child? Your parents were this. So what? How can I go and do something else? But it's a blessing.
Yes.
And I feel good that I'm following in my parents' footsteps, and I want to be just like them. I don't know that I'll ever live up to be the woman of God that my mom is, because she just has a heart of gold. But that forgiveness piece, I work on that every day,
Mhm.
because but for the grace of God, I never want to go through that again. So I try to tell people, forgive. There's people that have hurt me, and I forgive them over and over again. And you can forgive and keep people at a safe distance.
Yes.
And I had to learn that. So I do that as well. But that was a hard thing for me to go through. And that's part of why I try to, just pour and pay it forward and sow good seeds into the world, because, God has brought me through a lot, and he continues to do so. So when these situations come, I reflect back like, Lasagna, you know what? You have to help someone. Your story may heal someone. Your story may help someone. Even me talking today to tell someone, if it's someone that you're upset with, if it's someone that you haven't spoken to, if you haven't spoken to your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, I don't care how hard it may be, pick up the phone. Pick up the phone and tell them, you know what, whatever happened, I love you, and I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Sometimes
I'm
you just
sorry
have to
for
release it
just
yourself.
release it. I'm sorry for whatever my part was. I love you and I'm sorry. And leave it at that. You don't have to do anything else. And like I said, I thank God that day he unctioned me to pick up that phone and call my father and tell him that I loved him. And I know that he appreciated that. And that helped me heal with,
Yes.
dealing with his
His death.
untimely death.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's a big thing.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that.
No, you're
That was
welcome.
personal and transparent.
Mhm.
But I appreciate that. You never know who you helped with that.
Mhm.
And throwing in that part talking about forgiveness.
Yes.
It's key.
It's
It
key.
is so important. And we have to, like we already said, release ourselves a lot of times.
Yes.
Sometimes you just say, well, forgive me, whether or not that person's still being stubborn or not.
Mhm.
That helped you to get through.
Yes, it freed me. It
Yeah.
freed me.
Right.
Like I said, it's healing. People don't really, you get sick from harboring,
Yes.
anger and hate.
You can.
It consumes you.
Right.
That people don't believe that, but it's true.
Yeah.
So
Very true. Angela, I see you. Probably one other name I didn't call today, but thank you for watching. Real quick, give me a success story from since Moms Can Do It Too has been established. One success story that we can leave here with on today.
that will be the young lady that's speaking at my event. To know that someone went through such a hardship. She's experienced some hardship since she's been out too. I mean, some major, major blows, and she continues to push past her circumstances. She reaches out to me for encouragement. I'm constantly her biggest cheerleader. She has proven to her children that she is determined to continue to grow. And that's the biggest thing, because nothing is the end. Things will continue to happen. And I think now my biggest message to people is, guess what? I'm not saying that it's over. I'm not saying that you won't run into another hard time, but continue to know that God will provide. I spoke in Las Vegas last week, and my biggest message was, check God's resume. Check his resume. So that's what I've began to do when I'm going through a hard situation. And I'm like, Lord, because sometimes things look really impossible. You really, in that moment, you don't feel like you're going to make it. You don't feel like, you're going to get through it. You don't feel like you're going to win. But what I've learned to do, and I tell people, look at God's resume. Pull his resume up and look at the things that he's done. So that's what I do. Reflect back on God's resume for you.
Yes.
And that's what I've instilled in her. So she's began to do that, and her children can say they're proud of her. Her children are coming. One of her sons is coming to them, and he's driving over 350 miles to come and watch his mother be honored. So she's one of my big successes. I'm so proud of her. I have others, but hers is major. Like I said, there's a lot of women that have been incarcerated, and when they come out, they just can't find their way because they're shunned.
Yes.
They're shunned.
Mm-hmm. That stigma.
Now
people
look at men, men going to prison and going to jail, but when they see a woman, they get it harder. They're judged harder, they're treated harder. So for her to come out and still continue to push past all of her circumstances, I'm amazed.
Right.
And I want to, shift. Moms Can Do It Too, and I want to shift a program devised just specifically for women that have been incarcerated. I recently in Las Vegas, she's not a mother, but her name is Aisha Hall. I met her while I was in Las Vegas, and she served 10 years in prison. And now she's out. She's wrote a couple of books. She's out inspiring people. And I'm just like, wow, you talk about not looking like what you've been through. I thank God that I look at it, but you're like 10 years? 10 years is hard. And prison is hard in itself. That I'm, not that I've experienced it, but I'm hearing. But when you look at her, you're like, wow. So I want to shift a program geared towards women that are specifically coming out of incarceration and help them. So that's going to be a program that I'm working to develop.
Oh, see, this woman is on a mission, you all. She's on a mission, and I love it. I love her enthusiasm. I love how she just wants to continue on and develop these other foundations. It's beautiful. I love it. And I pray God's speed over you, over your life, and all that you're doing.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I do. And those that you're helping appreciate you too. You may not hear it all the time. You may or may not hear it all the time.
Seeing it.
Right.
Enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Yeah, she's got her mom spirit. I met her mom, so she definitely has her spirit. Well, Lasagna, thank you again for coming on today, for sharing with us. I pray success over the event over the weekend.
Thank you.
And we still have that ticket that I am purchasing.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it probably as soon as I get off the air. If you are interested in going to the event, you're not able to, maybe money, or you just want to win a gift from My Body. So hit me up in my inbox. But you got to do it, let's see, by tomorrow, okay? I'll give you until tomorrow to contact me if you want this ticket that I am purchasing, okay? Inbox me, and we'll take care of you, okay? So there were no birthdays today that were watching, but I do appreciate all of you that were watching on today and supporting us and listening to this wonderful woman of God. Hopefully there was something that she said on today that is a great takeaway for you. And I think I will probably say the biggest takeaway today is talking about forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Yes.
Forgiveness.
Amen.
That's a good thing. Good thing. Again, happy Mother's Day to each and every one of you. Appreciate if you still have your mother here on earth.
I'm telling you.
Appreciate her with all that you have.
Love on her.
Trust me, when she's gone, she's gone. My mom left here in 1999. She's no longer here on the earth. And I ache every day.
I can imagine.
My mom was my girl. So it hurts. And then it's like it's magnified when it comes around, of course, to Mother's Day.
I can imagine. Oh,
it's horrible.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I don't have any children of my own. So sometimes that's a hard day for me.
Yeah.
It's a hard day for me. But God. He's able to take me through and to encourage myself. And I know that there's some of you that have lost your mothers even recently.
Yeah.
So it may be a difficult Mother's Day for you, but I'm praying God's strength will take you through as well. So enjoy your mothers, appreciate them. If you got to forgive them, forgive them.
Yes.
Do whatever you need to. Life is but a vapor and tomorrow's not promised. So I just want to encourage each of you to do what you can. Again, thank you all. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for joining us on today. We're going to get out of here. Going to take a few pictures and make sure that we let everybody know what Lasagna is doing on this weekend. So look her up. Moms Can Do It Too. The number 2. Is it .com?
MomsCanDoIt2.com.
Okay.
I am on Facebook. Instagram is Moms Can Do It, the number 2 _. And I'm on Twitter, Moms Can Do It Too.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So go on social media. Moms can do it. Number 2, you will find her. Okay. Follow her. And you know what? Support her. She gives out resources for these single moms, and it costs money to purchase diapers and the wipes and all of that. This is what she's supplying these individuals with, these families with. So let's support her. If we can throw some money in her hand, and she'll accept it. She'll receive. Sure, I'm saying all this. She didn't tell me to say this, but you all, let's support each other, especially when you see that they are out there trying to help somebody else. Let's do that, okay? We'll rally around each other. And again, love you guys. Annette is getting out of here. Until next time, until next week, I want you all to soar and get caught up with Annette.
Get caught in a net with Annette.